عربي ولا انجليزي ولا
انجليزي بحكم عندنا زوز ضيوف.
انجليزي speak in English
أنا نفهم
عربي
عادي.
يا ربي English نص 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 okay I will try to mix. Okay, so this is the Hamilton S1. This is one of the best ventilators of Hamilton Medical. It's يعني the flagship ventilator. We call it on the top of the line. Hamilton ventilator use two sources of gas, medical air plus oxygen, and also power supply. Okay, we switch on and off the machine from this bottom here. We have the main unit here, which include the component, the medical component, اللي هم valves, electronic, and also we have the touch screen for adjustment. We call it the cockpit or the ventilation cockpit or the monitors. So, we can attach a compressor on the back of the ventilator.
Okay.
Yes.
But need to be plugged to the...
Yes. So in that case, we use only oxygen. The air will be built in inside the ventilator itself. The ventilator is designed to work with all categories of patients, starting from 3 kilo. يعني if we select the pediatric, we go. The minimum weight is 3 kilogram. We can add a neonatal option to the ventilator, so it can ventilate up to 200 grams patient. يعني premature patient, preterm 200 grams. The tidal volume will be 2 milliliters, starting from 2 milli. Okay. Now the ventilator has all. It's an option, يعني license. We have to buy the license, add the activation code, so it will be available on the ventilator. Now it works for pediatric and adult, starting from 3 kilo up to 140 kilo, and the height is 250 centimeters. Normally we work with ideal body weight, not the real weight, but we have to set the patient height. Why? Because the structure of the airway, the length, depends on the length of the patient, not on the weight. So we use the ideal body weight just to calculate the volume required for the patient. Okay, so the machine can ventilate a range categories of patient. So we have here on the ventilator two valves, the inspiration valve and the expiration valve. So the air is going out from this valve to the breathing circuit, which is the interface here. We can use many type of breathing circuit. This one is dedicated for transportation, but we can use also the heated circuit, which use the humidifier. If the patient will stay connected to the ventilator less than 4 hours, we can use normal breathing circuit or anesthesia circuit without heating. But if the patient will stay connected to the ventilator more than 4 hours, in that case, it's mandatory to use the humidifier. The humidifier is like an artificial nose. So it will add some temperature plus some humidity to the air in order to protect the airways of the patient, because the machine uses the dry and cold air and oxygen. If the patient will be ventilated with dry and cold air for a long time, so the airways will be dry, the secretion will be very thick, and the mucosa will be...
And the water source is going to be distilled water or normal saline or normal water?
Okay, so normally it's recommended to use sterile distilled water inside the chamber. If we use like this one, normal saline, so yes, you see the salt. So it's not recommended to use.
What about normal water?
This bottle or this chamber is heated to 37 degrees, and we have also humidity inside. So it's like a media for bacteria. If we use non-sterile water, after 24 hours or 48 hours, you can imagine which type of microorganism you can have inside the chamber. So better to use sterile water, distilled water. The one used in laboratory, for example, inside the biochemistry, you can borrow some bottles and use it here.
Can I ask you regarding the humidifier? You said you know needs to be connected until 4 hours, but we cannot use artificial ventilation without humidifier and without
Filters.
taskin. No,
Ah.
taskin.
Warming.
Yes.
So, okay, in case we are using the ventilator less than 4 hours, we can use a passive humidification system, which is the HME filter. HME filter is a special filter that have capability to absorb the moisture coming out from the
Yes,
patient.
but it's not for the heating of the air, because when you are connected to central,
Yes.
oxygen is very, very cold.
Correct.
You know, and with the humidifier filter, it's going to have little bit humidity.
Little bit.
And keep, yes, but for example, if you have patient, I don't know, with very high temperature or something, hyperthermia, and you will pressing that inside
cold air.
The cold air, yes.
So
Because
that's,
I am telling you from outside.
yes, correct.
There is no chance to use without humidifier.
Correct.
30 minutes, 20 minutes for some quick management of ventilator, you know.
In our case, it's just a question of economical question, because it's recommended to use the heated humidifier with all type of patient, even if the patient will stay 1 hour. But because the humidifier circuit, it's not available here, and sometimes it's a little bit expensive.
It's a different story.
Yes, so that's why most of the time we say that the patient, if he is not staying long time for connected to the ventilator, we can use a normal anesthesia circuit for short stay only. But if it will be connected for a long period, it's mandatory to use the humidifier. Okay?
Regarding filter,
Yes.
which the proper place to use?
So normally
Sometimes
we
they
have.
use it in expiratory valve, sometimes here.
So normally we should use two filters. One in the inspiration side, this one to protect the patient, because you know the gas source sometimes it's contaminated, and sometimes not even contaminated. I saw now one problem. It's a good chance to see the problem right now. I will show you one of the problems. This unit was used in oncology center in Misrata during corona situation. So during the corona, they make the medical pipes, the oxygen and the air pipes in a very fast way. So it was not welded very well. So in that case, we faced this problem. I will show you. This one is called water trap. It's inside the filter. You can imagine what we have found. I want to show you. You see inside the medical air what we have. You see this type of dust? This one is going up to the patient. And sometimes when you put water inside the chamber of the humidifier, it will be black water, because some dust can escape from the filter and go inside the breathing system. That's why it's mandatory to use the filter.
2 or 3.
We use the first filter in the inspiration side just to protect the patient. And we use another filter on the expiration side because the contaminated air is going out in the same room. So we use the second one to protect the staff working.
Bacterial.
Yes.
So we do have two.
Two. One to protect the patient and one to protect the staff in the ICU.
And the third one at the end.
At the end, if we are using HME filter, we can connect it on the tracheal tube side here. But because any filter connected after the Y-piece will increase the dead space, so better to have it first.
Even the weight.
The filter, I also want to show you the filters. You see, normally this one should be white. It's black. We have here some dust, oils, and everything.
And Hamilton is not using the
Filter?
From behind.
Yes.
You show now. In Europe.
They use paper filter.
No, they are not using even the water wrapping system. That one. They are not using
This
that.
one? Most of the new ventilator, they don't use this one anymore because this water trap.
This is special for Libya.
No, it's not special, but
C1 and C2,
C1 and C2, it's they have an internal compressor turbine. The water trap is used because the compressor, when they compress the air, we have some humidity inside the air, and the humidity can cause corrosion inside the electronic part. So we place this water trap in order to catch any type of moisture coming from the pipes. Sometimes in the central gas system, they have also similar water trap, but bigger size of 1 liter or 2 liter. They have to frequently, every 2 hours or 3 hours, to empty the water trap via a special system from downstairs. But sometimes they forget to empty the water. It will go inside the medical gas network, and it will be directly splashed inside the ventilator inside.
هذا اللي بترجع الكف باش يقيس لك البريشر بيدخل
مش يقيس، هذاك ينفخ ويقيس.
ينفخ بس الكونكشن بتاعنا عشان نشغل
تيوب عادي زي الاكستنشن لاين، زي الاكستنشن بتاع السامبلينج لاين بتاع الانستيزيا، يشبهها شويه.
نفس بتاع السيوت
نفس يشبهها هي. نفس الفكره، لكن فيها فالف صغيره بس، فيها زي الفالف
يعني خاصه بهاملتون كده.
خاصه بهاملتون. هي
ودي بس المينيمم بتاع الفوليوم
2 ملي بالنسبه للنيونيت.
لا
سود
هذه
ناو 20 ملي. 20 for pediatric minimum weight is 20 milli. So after patient is discharged, we throw away all the disposable circuit with the flow sensor, but we have to clean and disinfect the expiratory valve and membrane because this part is contaminated with the expired air. So we have to remove it, wash it, use any type of disinfectant.
contaminated by TB
Yes, even by TB.
or multi-resistance
Any, if we use يعني good.
autoclave.
Yes, it can be autoclaved. Yes, it can be autoclaved up to 134.
Only for autoclave, not for chemical cleaning.
Chemical without alcohol. Anything with alcohol can damage the plastic part. Yes, sure. Yes. Minimum side effects, but
We are having triggers, they have been damaged with central sterilization.
if the part, which one? This one?
Yes, but not Hamilton trigger.
Yes, if
Respiratory membrane.
some parts cannot be sterilized in 134 degrees, so they have to use the plastic cycle, which is 121. So you have to read
it's
it.
better to do it cold sterilization.
No, for this one, it's autoclavable.
No, I mean the membrane.
Both.
Also,
Both they can be sterilized with hot.
plastic
في plastic cycle rubber.
We were having trigger damaged. After that, they told us you shouldn't make it.
How damaged? It was يعني melted or
high temperature.
sometime
because they are not using, or maybe they put to not autoclave, but to normal sterilizator. I saw they are putting the valve and everything, you know.
Surgical sets
Exactly.
okay. Hey.
Yeah.
It should not be in contact with any metallic part, of course. And something else.
Also hot sterilization.
Sometimes the sterilizer itself is not calibrated, so the temperature displayed it's the 134. It can reach 140 or 50 because the machine they have some. You know the temperature sensor inside the autoclave is at the bottom of the chamber. Sometimes it is filled with water, so it will measure less temperature than the real temperature inside the chamber. So the temperature inside is 150, but on the top, on the bottom of the chamber is 130. So it can be safe to use 134, but if it is damaged, this means you have a problem inside the sterilizer itself. Sometime,
We cannot use a cold sterilization.
Low temperature sterilizer like plasma or formaldehyde. Yes.
Or we should use solutions.
For Hamilton, you can use for Hamilton you can use chemical disinfection. We have list of safe product with the correct concentration for each plastic part, and you can use also the sterilization. But it's very important to not use normal tap water after the sterilization because it will be recontaminated.
Yes.
Okay? You have
في حالات التي بي هل يكفي الديسانفكشن انت بتديرها في الممبرين هذا الفلتر؟
yes.
هذا بس اللي بتدير الاستريلايزيشن في حالة انه خدم على
So we clean the surface of the ventilator from outside, of course, but
هذا بس هذا بس اللي حقهم
mm,
خليه
if
هذه ريرو وهذه
what
disposable.
what we recommend if you have TB case or any
Our ventilator cases
You-
we are associated
yes
with
corona
that.
cases, we has expiratory valve single use. You can use it and throw away with the circuit, and you can keep this one for normal patient. So, but normally after disinfection and sterilization, it's safe to reuse it. Okay. The reusable? Reusable is around 700 dinar, I think. The single use, I think, around 100 or 80 dinar.
Now we are associated with Vaccine and Microbe Center.
It's better disposable for
Yes,
Only
disposable.
Cholesterol and Tazobactam only.
Okay, so now let's go to the modes. After selecting the patient group and the patient weight, so we go to see the next step, which is selecting the appropriate mode. We have on the left all the pressure modes, and on the right all volume modes. So the mandatory mode, we have pressure control and volume control CMV and PCMV. Both modes are designed Both modes, mandatory modes, are designed to ventilate passive patient with no spontaneous breathing. So we will set the rate, the tidal volume, the PEEP, and ratio. Patient will be ventilated mandatory with these parameters. So every minute the patient will get 15 breaths per minute with a tidal volume of 500, PEEP of 5, and the ratio of 1 to 2. Okay? So very easy. The same for the PCMV. The only difference, instead of having tidal volume, we will have a pressure control. Just it's important to know that the pressure control is the pressure above the PEEP level. So if I set the PEEP control 15 and the PEEP of 5, so the pipe will be 20. Okay? So normally the patient will be ventilated with this fixed parameter. Let's say, for example, after some time, the patient has recovered, start having some spontaneous breathing by himself. So what will happen in this case? دقيقة شوية بالبال. ظهرك تجيك ظروف ولا حاجة. ثلاثة وشان. So CMV تشتغلوا به CMV مود. CMV باش تشتغلوا؟ CMV بريشر ولا فوليوم؟
اكثر شيء هذا في الاي سي يو وفي الاوتي بالاوتوفلو.
بنسأل بس انتوا لما تشتغلوا بالاس ام في علاش يعني هل في سبب معين؟
اغلب الحالات احنا بدون مصر ريلاكس سبوتينيوس بريثنج
يعني هل لما تحطوا على السي ام في مش الاس ام في ما يشتغلش؟
يشتغل بس هيقعد في تعارف بينه وبين الفنتليتر.
علاش؟
ليش ما ياخذ قلت لك سبونتينيوس؟
اي يعني لما احنا
مش كومبليتلي ريلاكس.
يعني فور اكزامبل
ليش ما تاخذ مش بالسي ام بي 1 قلت لها انا حالات ما فيش فيه
a startup mode, they use the SIMV as a startup mode. So my question was, why you are using SIMV instead of CMV? What is difference?
There is
يعني-
big debate.
Hmm?
There is big debate
Okay.
between anesthesiologists and critical care medicine.
I want to know
Critical care medicine, they like to use
CMV.
CMV. For
Why?
us, synchronized intermittent mechanical ventilation, because patient breathing and this one assisting them.
Okay.
But for controlled mechanical ventilation, about lung mechanics, should be used when patient paralyzed.
Okay. After
Patient not taking spontaneous breathing.
Okay, and now after explaining the difference between both of them, maybe at the end I will re-ask the same question. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So first mode, as I said, the CMV and the pressure CMV, both modes are mandatory ventilation, are designed for passive patient.
Mhm.
These modes were created maybe in 1980. Okay? So if the patient now start recovering and start having some spontaneous breathing, what will happen?
No risk for trauma.
Trauma.
Yes.
هيقعد
Fighting.
كتبنك
Okay. دكتور.
كيس هوستة البيشنت نفسها للمصل
Okay.
Asynchronous.
Asynchronous. So this mode is not designed for active patient. So if the patient start having some spontaneous breathing, the first problem is the desynchronization, and which cause the fighting. So the patient will not be able to breathe freely because the machine will mandatory provide some cycles of breath in a mandatory way. So in this case, we will have the fighting scenario. So that's why the CMV mode and PCMV mode were upgraded. How this upgrade was done? By adding one new parameter, which is no trigger. Normally the mandatory mode, they don't have any trigger because the machine
Already mandatory.
is mandatory, so no need for trigger. But if we add the trigger parameter here, so now the patient is able to tell the machine that I'm here, I'm starting to breathe. So the machine will be able to sense and to detect any spontaneous breathing coming out from the patient. So what will be the reaction in case that the machine detects any spontaneous breathing? The machine will provide a support for the patient. So the patient now is able to breathe with a special support from the machine, even if he is in CMV mode or PCMV
So
mode.
it's gonna work as a mandatory.
That's why they do حرف الاس لهنا in between. S يعني synchronized. CMV في الأصل هو non synchronized mode, هو mandatory mode. لكن S, because of the trigger parameter that has been added, so the mode CMV with the new upgrade is becoming a synchronized CMV.
شو الفرق بين الاس اي ام في؟
صح، هذا السؤال يعني بعدين بنسأله لك نشوفوا بعدين الفرق بين CMV. Now if we are working on CMV mode or PCMV mode, they are both the same. The patient will get the 15 breaths per minute in a mandatory way, but he is also able to have some extra spontaneous breath in addition to these 15 mandatory. So every time the patient will trigger the machine or will initiate his own breath, the machine will provide a 15 centimeter water of pressure support, or if he is in mandatory mode volume control, the machine will provide a volume support of 500 milli. So the patient will have only to start, initiate the breath. The machine will assist the patient either with volume or the pressure. According, patient have only to start. If the patient effort is more above the level of trigger, of course, I can adjust the level of trigger. If I set the trigger 0.5, the machine is very sensitive. Even the small cough of the patient will be detected and may be considered as a spontaneous breath. If I set the trigger very high, so the patient have to take a very deep breath in order to stimulate the machine and let the machine starting the support.
So it's gonna be supporting time of breath, or it will let him take his breath and then gonna support.
Support. Every time the main reason why
At
we
the
have
time of taking inspiration,
Yes.
gonna support.
support. The main reason of the support is to decrease the work of breath. So no need to let the patient making a high effort in order to breathe. So the machine will detect and support immediately with the pressure or volume.
Start the ventilation.
Yes.
Or you need a pressure
خلينا
system.
نعدل لك التريجر نحطه لك زي ما كان هو خدش كان 5 ولا 3 اوكي
Usually تبدأ بثلاثة أنت.
مش عارف 3 أطفال هي ممكن 5 بالنسبة للأدلت. Now, how we can know that the patient is taking spontaneous breath? With two indicators. We have this small indicator. ترى أعمل push هيك. This one. Or you will see the diaphragm here. If you see diaphragm, this means the patient is taking spontaneous breath.
مع patient ماهوش
ما هو أنت يا دكتور لا أنت شنو تدير؟ أنت قاعد تعمل في expiration هي التريجر بتصير بالinspiration لازم sucking air. أنت you are pushing the air out. يعني لازم عاد نوريك سيناريو ترى. لا لا أوكي بقى.
يعني
هاي ريتها لازم فيه النزلة هذيك.
اوكي هيك جاي على
I want just to explain how the trigger is working, okay? So this is normally the baseline. It's the PEEP level. How the machine maintain the baseline or the PEEP level inside the circuit. So we have an airflow coming out from the inspiration, going to the patient, and going out from the patient to the machine. So let's say this is a loop from the patient to the machine, okay? It's a loop. So we have normally airflow circulating inside the breathing circuit in order to maintain the level of PEEP, 5, inside the circuit. So if the pressure here measured at this, so this is the flow sensor, okay? The flow sensor is responsible for the measurement, which is displayed here. The flow sensor is detecting any airflow coming in or out from the patient because it's directly connected to the endotracheal tube, okay? So we have a PEEP of 5, and suddenly the patient will generate a negative pressure inside the lung in order to suck the air. So the pressure which was maintained at 5 will be reduced to maybe 2 or 3 centimeter water because the patient has taken out some of the airflow. So at that time exactly, you see the pressure was 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, and suddenly we have this peak down. This means the patient have initiated some breath. He's making some effort. Exactly at that time, the machine will start doing the support, will increase the pressure in order to keep the patient do the inhalation without a big effort. So the inspiration valve and expiration valve are totally synchronized with the patient. Normally, if the patient is not breathing, the machine will deliver all the breaths in a mandatory way. But if the patient is triggering the machine, so the patient will be the priority. The machine will give the patient the possibility to make any inspiration at any phase. Okay? So this is the mandatory mode, of course, after the upgrade. Okay? Okay, let's go to the SIMV now, because you asked the question. Okay? We have two synchronized mode, two intermittent synchronized mode: volume control, pressure control. As I said before, the only difference is with this parameter, either tidal volume or P control. Okay? This one is volume control. What we have inside the volume control, we have the rate, tidal volume, PEEP, inspiration time, and the trigger. We have one new parameter, which is pressure support. So how the SIMV mode works? In the SIMV mode, we have to set up the inspiration time, TI. In our case here, it's 1.3. The 1.3 seconds dedicated for the inspiration time will divide it in two parts. The first part, or the first half of the inspiration time, the machine will stay on hold waiting for the patient to start. So SIMV mode will not start the mandatory breath. It will give the priority to the patient, give the possibility to the patient to start by himself. After the first half of the TI is finished and the patient did not trigger any spontaneous breath, in that way the machine will deliver a mandatory breath with this parameter 500 milli and rate 50. But if the patient has triggered the machine during the first half, it will take a 15 centimeter water of pressure support as if he is in a CPAP mode. So the mode SIMV will work as a CPAP mode if the patient is spontaneous with the pressure support, and if the patient is passive without spontaneous breathing, the machine will deliver the 500 milli like the CMV mode.
صلح لي لو انا غلط.
تفضل.
معناها تو الاس اي ام في برايورتي للبيشنت
اوكي.
والسي ام في برايورتي للماشين. هذا المين فاكتور اللي تحت. لو نختصروا هذا الكلام اللي حكيته هذا كله
هي اكثر شوي من هيك. البرايورتي للبيشنت في الاس اي ام في، البرايورتي في الستارت اب للبيشنت. سي ام في الماشين ويل ستارت. شوف في المود سي ام في والاس اي ام في عندنا بارامتر اسمه الريت. الريت شو هو الريت هذا؟ هو تريجر هذا. مش احنا عندنا هذا تريجر، هذا اسمه بيشنت تريجر. وقتاش البيشنت يبي يتنفس. الريت هذا الماشين تريجر. الماشين لو نحط لها ريت اوف 15 يعني الماشين بتاخذ 60 سكند بتقسمها على 15. لازم every 4 second الماشين will start one new cycle. So every 4 seconds الماشين will deliver a mandatory breath. في الزيرو سكند، في الفور، في الايت، في التويلف، يعني كل 4 ثواني الماشين ويل ستارت. فهذا هي الماشين تريجر. الماشين تريجر في السي ام في يبدا يشتغل من الثانيه رقم 0 طول 0 يبدا يعطي، في الأربعة يبدا يعطي، في 8 يبدا يعطي. في الاس اي ام في ما يبداش السايكل في الصفر، يبقى يستناه حوالي 0.5 جزء من الثانيه. يعني الجزء الاول باش تبقى الماشين ويتنج، تستنى البيشنت انه هو اللي يبدا التنفس. لو بدا تعطيه بريشر سبورت اللي هو هذا كانه على السي باب. لو البيشنت does not trigger any spontaneous breath, the machine will deliver a mandatory breath with tidal volume of 500 كانه على السي ام في سايكل باي سايكل. الفرق تو بين السي ام في والاس اي ام في، السي ام في ال 15 هذا breath per minute will be delivered mandatory. الاكسترا بريث اللي بياخذهم البيشنت بيكونوا above ال 15 بياخذهم سبونتينيوس. في حين اس اي ام في ال 15 هذه مجموع السبونتينيوس بلس كنترول. يعني if the patient صحيح تخصم الماشين، لو البيشنت has taken 5 breaths spontaneously الماشين will deliver only 10. If the patient does not take any breath machine will deliver 15. If the patient took all the 15 spontaneously الماشين will not deliver anything.
هذه في الهاملتون بس ولا في اس اي ام في؟
هي المفروض في الاس اي ام في كله بصفه عامه، لكن انا توا بحكم نعرف الهاملتون احكي لكم على الهاملتون. ممكن الاجهزه الثانيه هما المودز الستاندرد
مش مر عليها
السي ام في. في الاجهزه الثانيه حتلقوه اسمه اي سي اسيستد كنترول. اي سي هو بنفسه سي ام في
هي قصدي لا فكره في الاس
سانكرونايزد. هي شوف مفروض اي دكتور تخبي له اسم المود، تفتح له الويندو بتاع الكنترول، ادوات التحكم هذه ما عادش يهمك المود هلبة. هذوما اللي باش يعطيوك انت شنو بتشتغل، الادوات التعديل. ما المود ما يفرقش هلبة. علاش بكري قلت لكم الفرق بين السي ام في والاس اي ام في الاساس ما فيش فرق. انا نقدر نوصل للتارجت اللي توصل لها انت بالاس اي ام في، نقدر نوصل لها بالسي ام في، واحد ثاني يقدر يوصل لها باسيستد كنترول او باي مود ثاني. فهي الفكره هاو يو ماستر البارامتر مش اسم المود. اسماء المود يضيعوا. هذاك علاش تو المودز في يعني بعد نكملوا هذه على السريع. تو شفنا السي ام في وشفنا الاس اي ام في. في الباي ليفل مود اللي هما ديو باب والاي بي ار في، وعندنا سبونتينيوس اللي هو CPAP with pressure support. CPAP with pressure support. Okay.
باب هذا الباي باب ولا لا؟
ديوباب والاي بي ار في. ديوباب والاي باي باب. والاي بي ار في واللي حكينا على بكري الاير واي بريشر ريليز فنتيليشن. اوكي. الهاملتون شنو داروا تو؟ قالوا احنا عوض انه نخلوا الدكتور او الدكاتره يختاروا بين الغابه هذه نتاع المودز، خلوا نعملوا وان ستاندر مود اللي هو ماهوش مود في الحقيقه، هو الجوريثم اللي باش هو يختار المود الانسب للبيشنت. يعني الالجوريثم تاع الاي اس في الادابتيف سبورت فنتيليشن it's like a combination of all these modes in one mode. لما تحط الاي اس في the machine will select the appropriate mode according to the patient condition. Okay. Which parameter we have في ASV mode? We have all the parameters related to the ventilation اللي هما الريت والبريشر أو الفوليوم والريشيو، هذوما كلهم combined في one single parameter اللي هو minute ventilation percentage. هو هذا. تو ما عادش عندنا لا بي كنترول، لا عندنا تايدال فوليوم، لا عندنا ريت، لا عندنا ريشيو، لا انسبيريشن تايم، ولا عندنا one parameter. So we have to decide how many liters of volume we have to provide per minute. In our case, the patient, let's say we have a patient of 70 kilo as a body weight, ideal body weight. The calculated minute volume for this patient is 7 liter. اللي حسبناها بكري. يعني 100 هذه 100 milliliter per kg per minute. If we multiply 100 by 70 kilo, we have 7,000 milli, which is 7 liter. So now we just select 100%. The machine will deliver the 7 liter in a combination of tidal volume plus rate plus pressure plus volume according to the patient requirement and compliance and resistance. But the machine will guarantee at the end that the patient will get his 7 liter, the full requirement. Okay? So يعني تو هما الفنتيليتر فيه خلينا نقولوا mainly two direction, to oxygenate the lung and to ventilate the lung. البارامتر نتاع الاكسجينيشن اللي هما الاف اي او 2 والبيب، two parameter to oxygenate and one parameter to ventilate اللي هو minute volume. أقرب حاجة. تو على أي أساس بنعدلوا how we adjust the minute ventilation؟ درنا اي بي جي، لقينا CO2 for example 60 أو 70، لأن عندنا CO2 retention in order to extract CO2